first light of dawn revealed the edge of the forest where the ground was freshly torn apart by rooting boars. The tracks pressed deep into the damp soil and leading straight into the trees like arrows pointing toward danger. We knew a large herd had passed through just hours earlier, and the smell of earth mixed with musk still hung heavy in the air. Moving slowly, every branch that cracked beneath our boots seemed louder than usual. Every rustle of leaves echoed like a warning, but the anticipation pushed us forward, hearts racing in silence. Suddenly, shadows began to flicker between the trunks, a dozen dark shapes moving with unnatural speed, and the silence shattered under the weight of heavy hooves pounding the ground. Shots rang out almost instinctively as the herd tried to scatter, but the forest path slowed their escape. Dust rose, bark split from trees as stray bullets lodged into them, and squeals tore through the clearing. By the end of it, the forest was still again, unnaturally still, as though the world itself was holding its breath, the ground scarred and littered with fresh signs of the battle. Hunts like this near dense forests carry a tension few understand until they live it. The wide-open fields after harvest are deceptively calm, a painting of golden stubble under the rising sun, but peace is fragile. That morning we spotted the tracks cutting across the stubble, pressed deep from weeks of relentless raids, the farmer's frustration written all over the torn ground. For him, this wasn't just sport, it was survival. We set up on the ridge, eyes scanning the far tree line, and when the first group broke into the open, the chase began. They ran low and fast across the field, but with nothing to hide behind. Their speed was their only weapon. Every shot echoed, rolling across the empty land like thunder. Dust rose behind them, each stride leaving scars in the field as they scattered in every direction. Disoriented, desperate, but the open land betrayed them. It was quick, brutal, and necessary to protect the fields from more destruction. And wide fields test a hunter's patience, demanding precision in the few seconds that matter. Old barns tell stories of the past, but sometimes they hide trouble in the present. The building we approached sagged with age, its wood darkened by years of weather, but something about it felt off. We entered cautiously, every step making the floor groan under our weight. The smell of animals sharp, too sharp for a place abandoned for years. Our nerves bristled with warning, and then it happened. A massive boar exploded from behind a hay pile, tusks flashing in the dusty light. The roar of its charge filled the barn, shaking the walls as we fired. The sound inside was deafening, bullets cracking against wood and echoing like cannon fire as the air filled with dust, feathers, and chaos. More followed, crashing through broken doors and shattered windows, splintering wood as they scrambled to escape, and for a moment, it felt like the barn itself might collapse under the madness. When silence finally fell, the building stood battered, its old walls carved with fresh scars, a reminder that hunts in enclosed spaces leave no room for error. The marsh was wet, thick, and unforgiving. Every step was a battle, each boot sucked down by the mud as though the swamp wanted to keep us there. Mosquitoes swarmed, the air thick and damp, but the tracks were fresh, clear as writing in wet clay. The herd had crossed here not long ago, and the swamp would slow them just as much as it slowed us. The silence broke with movement. Dark shapes appeared on the far bank, muscles slick with water, tusks gleaming faintly, and the chase was on. They splashed across the shallows, the water exploding around them in sprays, mud churning under their weight as reeds bent and snapped. Shots rang out, muffled by the damp air, and the swamp turned into chaos, squeals mixing with splashes, every movement sending ripples across the surface. Hunting in swamps isn't just a test of accuracy, it's a test of endurance. Every pull of the trigger matched by a struggle to keep footing and to fight the marsh itself. High in the mountains, the air thins and every breath is earned, silence hanging heavy, broken only by the crunch of boots on loose stone. We had been following a herd along a narrow ridge where one wrong step meant disaster, cliffs dropping hundreds of feet on either side, the path twisting like a snake across the rock. Suddenly, from around a bend, they appeared massive boars moving with shocking ease over the jagged terrain, their hooves striking sparks from the stone, bodies moving like they belonged to the mountains. Taking aim here was no simple matter. The shots echoed for miles, rolling through the valleys below like thunder, each bullet needing perfection, for one miss would send the herd vanishing over the ridges. When it was over, the mountains swallowed the sound, returning the world to silence, but the memory of that moment, the sheer danger and beauty of it, will last forever. The orchard looked peaceful at first, rows of old trees, branches heavy with fruit, the air sweet with ripeness, but beneath that calm surface lay ruin. The ground was shredded, torn apart by rooting boars who had claimed it as their personal feast. We set up quietly, hidden among the trees, the shadows lengthening as the sun dropped, and as night fell, movement stirred. One by one, shadows slid in from the dark edges, dozens of them, sniffing, rooting, until the noise of feeding began: snorts, grunts, and the crack of fruit under tusks. At the signal, the night lit up with shots. Branches shook violently, fruit dropped like rain, and chaos engulfed the orchard. The herd scattering in every direction, shadows crashing through trees and brush.
If you'll enjoy this video, please like and subscribe my channel for more information.